Hello everybody, in this video we talk about the cinematic whiskey commercial, and after watching this video you should be able to shoot something like this. This is the first shot I want to talk about, and what's special about this shot is the way we do the fill light. We're in the bar as a cinematographer, always you know the rule. We try to match the ambience and lighting of the practicals of the scene. So we know, okay, here is a window, here are some practical lights, so the light have to come from this direction, a little bit from this direction, and when you have a little bit more knowledge about the room, maybe the light can come from the top. But for now, we concentrate on this area and this area. When we look at his face, you can clearly see he's basically half lit. So the light comes from the side and it's really hard. As you can see, we don't have a lot of roll off. The light practically stops in the middle of his face. And what they also did here is they made or used some warm tones. This whole video is classical orange teal feeling, but I will show you a technique to make it more subtle. So this light you can do with everything. This could be an aperture with light dome just from outside the window straight to his face. What they also could done is put a butterfly in front of the window and shine the light through it, but in my opinion this light looks too hard to be a big source, so it should be something around sky panel size with softbox or aperture 90 softbox. So next thing is this shadow area. As you can see, we have a lot of blue tones here in the skin, and this is not color grading. The reason for that is sometimes for these kinds of shoots, you use a fill light, which could be an Astera that is straight in front of him, and you pull up a cyan color and just a little bit fill the shadows with this blue tone. This gives the skin of the person this three-dimensional feeling of color contrast and also makes the image more special. Goal for a commercial is always visual interest, because people are sitting at home watching TV, they need something to, okay, the brain has to activate. So when the image they used to looks different, the brain activates. And that's the reason why we have this color contrast feel on this face. You can do more extreme or less extreme. This is a more extreme example. You can also do this for your narrative work. So just a little bit. You can practice it at home, try it. Sometimes you get really cool looks with it. We have another light in the background, and this also could be everything. Just a small light, maybe an f22x, just also warm colors, adjust this to the atmosphere so that he pops a little bit better in the background, because we choose, because they choose to have a really low fill ratio. And probably what they also did is put a flag, negative flag on this side on his face, so that there is not another warm light that is bouncing into his face, so they can keep that contrasty feeling and this color contrast. Now we just flip the scene, and this is a dream scenario for the cinematographer, because we just can turn the light from this direction in this direction, turn the Astera from this direction in this direction, and we are done. So just flip the lights, and on darker skin you can even see better the bluish tints that they put onto the skin, and the look is very, very dark. And I think this color contrast really helps to elevate and let the skin of the person pop back onto the screen. This is one of the hero shots of the commercial, and what makes this look so good. First things first, I always tell people light from the back. So concentrate first on the background and then on your subject. With this technique, you have a lot more control, because you put down your camera, set exposure. This is the ISO, this is the aperture I want to shoot at, and then you dial lights. When you do it the opposite way, you put this light at 80%, that and 20, and then you decide to maybe change the camera settings. Everything is off balance and you have to redo everything. So just put your camera down, set your exposure how you like it to the darkest parts of the image, and then you light. So what they probably did here is, because we have this orange teal feeling, you can see we have this window in the background, and that's just a sky panel doing a cyan color and blasting into the background. That's it. But what does it do? Because we have such warm colors on the actor and on the scenery, we have a lot of these brown tones from the wood. It really lets the person pop. When we would do a normal color on the background, in this warm scenario, everything would look really, really flat. And that's not what we want as a cinematographer. So this technique to use this cool light as a backlight really helps the scenery. And when you think about it, it doesn't make sense. Also there's no way in this scenario there's a light with this color, but it's a commercial, nobody cares, it has to look good, and they want to sell you some alcohol. Next important thing after the sky panel in the background is practicals. So which options do we have to bring a little bit of life back into the scene? Also in this wooden dark scenes, it looks very dead. So they put up here practical, here practical, you have this little practicals. And if you look closely in the background, we can see the light in the mirror. A lot of people would stress out on a scene. We shoot and think, oh, now we see a light in the background, the mirror, we can't use the take. Chill, guys. You always have to think about how do people watch this video. It's on the TV. The clip is around 30 seconds. The normal people that are watching are not cinematographers or filmmaking people. For them, this is the exact same thing as this or a lamp. They don't think about, so where's the next light? So if you have a little bit of reflections on, or maybe from Asteras, normal people don't associate it, sorry, can't pronounce that word, with filmmaking tools, so with equipment. So ignore it, a little bit of reflections of your lights, no problem, I can guarantee you. The only people that are stressing are filmmaking people. So after placing the practicals, you put some bulbs from yourself in there, some aperture ones, or Astera has also now. But you have to check if they fit. On a lamp like this, maybe they only take small bulbs, and when your bulbs doesn't fit, you need a dimmer. A dimmer is to set down the exposure of a lamp because you don't want them to be that bright. That's also my theory, that they are able to put their own bulbs in here. That's the reason why we have this not so clean glow. Because practicals don't have to be bright, they have just to be there. A little bit of exposure and it's fine. But they're using clearly a little bit of haze in the background and also a promised filter, which lets the practicals glow a little bit. And so we have a little bit nicer highlight roll off. And also the haze is not on the foreground, only in the background. I would always prefer it that way because a lot of haze also in the foreground flattens out your image and you don't want it always. So just for a little bit more atmosphere, just a little bit of haze in the background. Then the lighting for her, also pretty easy. It's soft, but it's not that soft, and we don't have a fill light. This is just one source that is blasting at her. And the challenge is to get around this pole. And you can clearly see how bright this one is and how dark this one is, because the only way to light this is put the light on here and blast it at her. On set, this pole was probably crazy bright, but it's 2025, color grading exists. They probably did here a power mask and pull it way down, because there's no way they got this exposure on her and this dark wood stays this brightness. So always keep in mind, color grading exists, communicate with your colorist, or when you do it yourself, know what are the limits. Then the last thing they did here is, you can see it here, was probably something like an F22, and just give her a nice edge light for the last bit of separation in the background. What I always try to do is the backlight to not come further than here. I think it doesn't look good when the edge light is hitting the side of the face. If you enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate a subscription from you. My name is Marco Bagnoli and we see you next time.